greatest people are self-managing. They don't need to be managed. Once they know what to do, they'll go figure out how to do it, and they don't need to be managed at all. What they need is a common vision, and that's what leadership is. What leadership is having a vision, being able to articulate that so the people around you can understand it, and getting a consensus on a common vision. We wanted people that were insanely great at what they did, but we're not necessarily those seasoned professionals, but who had at the tips of their fingers and in their passion the latest understanding of where technology was and what we could do with that technology, and who wanted to bring that to lots of people. So the neatest thing that happens is when you get a core group of 10 great people, it becomes self-policing as to who they let into that group. So I consider the most important job of someone like myself is recruiting. We went through that stage in Apple where we went out and we thought, oh, we're going to be a big company, let's hire professional management. We went out and hired a bunch of professional management. It didn't work at all. Most of them were bozos. They knew how to manage, but they didn't know how to do anything. And so if you're a great person, why do you want to work for somebody you can't learn anything from?
Inscribed inside the casing of every Macintosh, unseen by the consumer, are the signatures of the whole team. This is Apple's way of affirming that their latest innovation is a product of the individuals who created it, not the corporation.
I address you tonight not as the President of the United States, not as the leader of a country, but as a citizen of humanity.
In 2019, I've actually had a lot more conversations with people that have heard of Interledger and are like, oh yeah, that's a really neat technology. I've heard good things about it. And also the message about interoperability is resonating much more widely. I think both in the cryptocurrency community and then also in the broader payments ecosystem. There's just so much fragmentation, and the direction is only towards more fragmentation. Maximalism is slowly dying, continuing to die a slow death. And I think the realization is that it's much more powerful when people work together to build something. So in the crypto community, there's a lot of tribalism and a lot of like, oh, your thing is stupid. But it's a lot more powerful if we actually work together to build something. And if we're working on kind of neutral standards, that's something that everybody can get behind and can benefit the entire ecosystem. So just to level set, I think we have a massive, massive opportunity here. When I mentioned the thing about all the money, I started saying that as a joke, but I also kind of mean it. Like that is really the goal.
We are faced with the very gravest of challenges. The Bible calls this day Armageddon, the end of all things. And yet, for the first time in the history of the planet, a species has the technology to prevent its own extinction.
So let's go through the demo one more time just so you can see kind of the streaming payments part a little bit better. So I'll pick the same website. So here on the right, you can see like the total paid right now is 500 drops. That's to pay for the AI. Now we're streaming to pay for the packager. So this is going in 250 drop intervals. And then we have a larger expense to host the website, 9,000 drops. It's over 9,000 to actually buy the domain. And then finally, we tip the developer 1,000 drops. And so if I make an app like that, I have a built-in business model. And I think that's really the key point to get across here is I think this will have a huge impact on the web, where think about if I start a convenience store, I don't need to think about what my business model is. My business model is people pay me when they come buy things. When I open a restaurant, I don't think about my business model. My business model is people pay for the food that they eat. On the internet, we have this weird thing where like there isn't a good way to charge people for using your website. And so we build advertising, we build subscriptions, and all kinds of hacky workarounds for like how to get money out of people just from visiting your website. And I think this will present a pretty efficient alternative in the future where people can just pay you for using your site.
All of you praying with us need to know that everything that can be done to prevent this disaster is being called into service. The human thirst for excellence
Notre soif
and
humaine
knowledge
pour l'excellence et la connaissance
every step up the ladder of science, every adventurous reach into space, all of our combined modern technologies and imaginations, even the wars that we fought have provided us the tools to wage this terrible battle.
Coming back to what I was saying about micropayments, people ask, what would you use micropayments for? And we give dumb answers. Web monetization is a really good one. But other than that, you say things like, oh, my phone could buy Wi-Fi as it needs it. Oh, I could pay to go through a revolving door. Those are all dumb. But if in the 90s you asked me what people would use electronic mail for, I would have given you bad answers, too. Or what they would use streaming video, I wouldn't have told you cat videos. Like, I don't know what people are going to use micropayments for. What would you use this packet of data for? You don't use a packet of data for anything. You assemble packets of data into bigger, complex things. So this is the thing. You can make a $1,000 payment with a large number of micropayments, and there are tremendous advantages to doing things that way. So the trick here is that that trust element is eliminated. So if I'm making a $1,000 payment as a series of micropayments, if I'm getting a really good exchange rate, I could stream faster. If I'm getting a really terrible exchange rate, I could stream slower. And I don't need trust if I'm doing it a thousandth of a penny at a time. If you steal a thousandth of a penny from me, good on you. I'm just not going to send any more money your way. I'm going to send it the other way. And this iterates. So if I'm sending money to somebody, they might try 2 or 3 different paths themselves. And if they get a bad path, they might give a bad price back to me. But I'll still send a little money towards them because they may find a better path themselves. And when they do that, then I'll send more money to them to find that cheapest path. So kind of the same things that we do with routing today and multipath and VPNs. Like, you can do all those things with money in Interledger. There's going to be if I'm right about micropayments becoming like the thing, there's going to be a massive revolution in the way software interacts with money, and that's going to be a tremendous opportunity. That's going to be a whole new multi-billion-dollar industry.
If you think about what happened in the world of the internet, when the internet was developed, there were all of these different technologies, HTTP, TCP, IP networks, Wi-Fi, but the way to connect this all together, so importantly, was IP, right? And so when we look at value, we look at the Interledger protocol as a way to connect all these different networks from the application level through the transport level, and then all the way down to the banks and the blockchains and the mobile money, to stitch this all together and move this through an open source protocol around the world, and ILP does that. So for us, this is all about creating an internet of value. We had an internet of data. It has changed the world, but it is missing that crucial component of moving value. So with the Interledger protocol and with Ripple software and using XRP, we've created an internet of value that we've got already 100 customers rolled out in this. We're adding more customers every week. And we think this is really going to create this internet of value that's really going to change the world and finally give us globalization in every way with our stuff, with our data, and yes, with our money.
Through all the chaos that is our history, through all of the wrongs and the discord, through all of the pain and suffering, through all of our times, there is one thing that has nourished our souls and elevated our species above its origins, and that is our courage. The dreams of an entire planet are focused tonight on those 14 brave souls traveling into the heavens.
That man's not a salesman. That's your daddy.
And may we all, citizens the world over, see these events through. Godspeed and good luck to you.